Everybody, and welcome back to this very, very special episode of Business Growth Secrets. I'm here today with a good friend of mine, Nick Staab. He has achieved some amazing things through his career. He has a best-selling book, Selling to Serve, which was #1 in over 21 categories. This book is all about sales and how to increase your sales. And we're going to talk much about sales today and really dive into the depth of it. You know, Nick not only writes on the subject, this is what he does. He's closed over £10 million worth of sales in his career. He does it professionally. He teaches salespeople in all different walks of life, all different industries, to improve their conversions. But what I love about Nick is it's not just about improving the conversions, it's about improving the client experience. So I'm really looking forward to talking to Nick on this subject. Nick's someone that I've known very well and worked with. He's someone who's been through our programs and accelerated massively, achieved huge success. So really excited to have you on. You good, Nick? How are we doing, buddy?
Adam, mate, I'm fantastic. Thank you, mate. And it's a pleasure to be here. It's honestly such a privilege.
It's going to be really good. I'm sure this is going to be, if you are listening today, you probably want to get a pen and paper handy, because I'm sure there's going to be some amazing content throughout this podcast. Now, I'm a big believer, and I have been for a very long time, knowing many people that are successful in business and successful in life. One thing I've noticed about all successful people is they have the ability to sell. They are able to sell their ideas, they're able to sell their visions, they're able to sell their products, they're able to sell their services. And one thing that I've seen with business owners that struggle a little bit more are people that are not comfortable on this subject. So what we'll do is we'll dive into that and how people can improve. But Nick, do you want to give a bit of your background? Tell us how you got to where you are now. You know, how did your journey start out, and how did we get to £10 million in sales and a best-selling book in 21 categories? Massive success story. But let's go right back to the beginning. Tell me about how things started out for you, Nick.
Amazing. So taking you back then 10 years ago, I was actually the other side of the world in Australia. I'd finished my university. I got a first in IT and computing. Couldn't find a job like most people. You know, I was so overqualified. They wanted people with experience. So I didn't know what to do. I just thought I'd take a year out and go backpacking across Australia. But nice. I get to Sydney, and very quickly, my money starts to run out. Okay, the partying, the drinking, and I need to find myself a job. Now, as a backpacker, I probably had two choices. #1, to go find a job in a bar, or #2, to go find a job going door to door selling. So I took option #2. You know, I'd never sold anything really before, and it was very new to me. Now, the job I got was selling electricity. So I was actually helping people change their energy providers. And I learned a lot from the people that I work for. I'll say that I learned the hard way. I mean, if I wasn't good at what I did, or I didn't get people up the right way, I'd have people set their dogs on me, and you know, so I'd be running, jumping over fences. But yeah, when the deals were good, they were good. I was able to earn around about $50 in commission per sale, and I quickly grew to a point where, because I've read a lot of books in the past, Adam. Like, see, I was obsessed as a young kid, like with books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, How to Win Friends and Influence People. So even though they were giving me this sales training, which was very much pushy, you know, like features and benefits, I felt that actually, if I just have a conversation with these people, find out what problems they're having with their current energy providers, you know, whether it be the bills, the service, and, you know, bridge a gap to a solution and say, look, if it's the right fit for you, let's do business. And if not, I'll be on my way seeing your neighbors. And that really worked well for me. And I actually grew to be the #1 consultant out of the entire company in just 3 months. Nice. That raised a few eyebrows, because there was people there, like Australian citizens, working for the company for years. And they're like, what's this guy doing? What's he saying? He must be doing something dodgy. And no. So this is what I do. And it wasn't long until they made me a team leader, and things were going great. You know, at the time I was probably taking around about $5,000 a month. I was 21 years old, and yeah, it sounds funny because the money I had back then, I don't know where it went. I didn't know how to manage my money like I do now, from working with people like yourself, who have taught me a lot about that. But Yeah, yeah, it was a time, and I remember there was a day. It was in September the 21st. Okay, the office was it was a hot day, right? If you can imagine, the sun was blaring through the windows. We're on the 34th floor in Sydney. You could see the Opera House. You can see the streets, and yeah, it was a Monday morning. Now, the rest of the team had been out partying over the weekend, so I saw my regional manager across the room, and he was as white as a sheet. Right now, his name was Matt. He's normally this Australian tan surfer type dude. If you can picture him, he's got the blonde hair, the blue eyes, but he was sweating. He just looked white. And I said, "Hey, Matt, heavy weekend?" He said, "No, Nick, it's not funny. You need to sit down." And he called the meeting. He called it, we had this like little bell we used to ring. It was very much like a Wolf of Wall Street sales energy office. Like the guys were in sharp suits, the women were in nice dresses. And when we huddle up for this morning meeting, about 100 people in this small office, and Matt just says, "Guys, I don't know how to tell you this. We're shutting the company down. Friday's your last day." Now, at that moment, the ground just swallowed me whole. Like I'd lost my income, which was really good. But the most important thing to me, I was out there on a year visa. I'd just been granted my citizenship if I stayed for that company. So I was really making plans to become a full-time Australian resident and relocate. And because of that news, I actually lost my residency. So I pretty much had to finish up my time in Australia. I spent the last 3 months doing everything I wanted with the money I earned. I went skydiving, Whit Sundays, and had a great time. Then I came back to the UK, hit the restart button, right? I was actually back at my parents' house in my old childhood bedroom, starting again. And after that taste of working in sales, having a no ceiling income and being in a position where I knew that the harder I worked, the better job I did, the more money I would earn. I just couldn't imagine myself going back to a 9-to-5 job with a set salary. So I find myself a job working for Virgin Active. Now, obviously, Richard Branson, Virgin Active, it was a great time. And once again, I took to this like a duck to water. I took all the sales skills I had from before, my experience, my knowledge, and I quickly grew the ranks here as well, right? So I become a team leader, area sales manager, and I was managing a team of people. I was managing sites across London. So it was great, right? Now, once again, I'm earning good money. But what I find is that, Adam, is that I'm actually quite miserable because I'm working all the hours under the sun, right? I'm literally doing 7 days a week, leaving the house at 5 o'clock in the morning, getting home around about 9 o'clock at night. I'm going on all my days off. My partner at the time thought I didn't really love her. My family thought I didn't love them because I was missing birthdays, weddings. I was just obsessed with being number one, right? And I was in a position where I had to exchange my time for money. I didn't have the money that I was making working for me. But anyway, I just kept doing what I was doing, right? Because follow the system they teach us in school, get a job, get a good education, get a mortgage, retire on £150 a week if you're lucky, and die. Right now, I'm not saying, by the way, that the system is
definitely
wrong.
a better way, right?
I'm not saying that the system is wrong, but maybe some of you guys who are listening to this, are looking for a bit more in your lives, like you just more money, more time, more freedom out there, being your own boss or working for someone who can really look after you and cherish you. So anyway, I just kept doing what I was doing, right? But there was a day, right? There was a day where I got hit by the hammer blow. Now, I just found out that my nan had passed away from cancer. It was May 2018. Now, they got the dates for the funeral. It was going to be Thursday, the 31st of May, the last day of the month. A day that we call closeout in the sales industry. Like the targets had to be here, everything had to be done. So I had a boss. I won't say his name just in case someone may be listening, but he made you feel really small, right? He was one of those people, he loved to abuse his power, small man syndrome, as they say. Now, I go into his office and I tell him I need the dates off for the funeral. Ah, sorry, Nick. No time off at the end of the month. Not me.
Yeah, myself.
It's company policy,
Yeah.
right? And that was just when I said to myself, like, Nick, you're better than this, right? Because for so long I've been working hard, climbing that slippery, greasy corporate ladder, only to realize that I'm on the wrong roof, right? I'd been chasing the wrong currency, which was money. But in reality, I was miserable because I didn't have time to enjoy that money or do the things that I wanted to do. So it was actually that very night on the train home that I listened to someone I've been pushing away for a long time. Someone had been trying to reach out to me. Now I'm on my phone and there's this guy on my screen. He's got these big white teeth, tanned, proper Essex boy, right? Even more than me. And it's my amazing new business partner, Liam Ryan. And he's telling people about how they can get started in property and become full-time business owners. So I was a little bit skeptical, but you know, I knew I needed to do something different in my life, because if I didn't change, nothing else was going to change. So I went on his training and I was just hooked, right? I went on his boot camp, I went on his advanced mentorship, because I knew that I had to invest in myself if I really wanted to get where I needed to go. And yeah, fast forward a few months, I was doing such a good job in property and making some amazing deals, raising money off investors, that Liam had actually said to me, like, hey, there's a position in my company. I want you to come and sell at my event. I want you to come and run my sales team. And this was back at the late end of 2018. And I remember the sales process when they took me in, right? It wasn't pretty either. You know, I wanted to join because it was a great offer for me to move forward and get into something I wanted to do. But I remember it was very pushy, features and benefits type selling, not really find out my problem. So I was very confident I could have helped Liam grow his team. And just one day, like it was a Saturday event in London, I was able to make over £2,000 in commission working 4 hours. Like that was more than what I used to earn in my old job. And the same week after that, I earned over 2.5, then £3,000. So it wasn't long because I could actually come out of my job. And I actually gave my letter of resignation to Jay. I've just said his name now. I wasn't meant to say his name, but there we go. Slipped out. But yeah, you know, I gave my letter of resignation in, and for the first time in my life, I felt free, right? And from hanging around Liam, who's a prolific business owner, he knows so much about property, managing teams, looking after other people. I was able to scale and grow my own business as well as his. Because the thing I love about sales, and the gift that I think many people can do, is that they can sell for themselves, right? They can grow their own businesses, but actually as another stream of income, they could sell other people's products. I call OPP. And this is an angle that I found to be very successful, because as well as selling for Liam, I sold for other top business owners in the UK. I've even done a little bit for yourself here and there, Adam, as well.
And you've done a great job, I will say, you know, when you've done that. Yeah.
Thank you, man. And, you know, it's been such a privilege to be hanging around some of the UK's best business owners and trainers. And I mean, that's where my life has transformed in the last 4 years, mainly just getting around the right people. Because I'm a big believer in you're the product of the 5 people you hang around the most, right? Like Jim Rohn says, hang around 5 negative people, you're going to be number 6, right? Yeah. Hang around 5 broke people.
So true. And I think that so few people, I think people buy into these kind of concepts, and they'll hear that kind of concept. They'll buy into it a little bit, and maybe they'll have 1 or 2 people, but they don't really spend time with them. I think that when you actually make your network 5 successful people, and you spend time with those people, and you listen, and you're humble, and you learn, I think that everything changes for you, and you just elevate so much faster. And I think it's something, and do you know what the biggest problem? is most people, and where I've found my success over the years, Nick, most people are afraid to pay for it. You know, they're afraid to pay for coaching. They're afraid to pay for mentoring. They're afraid to pay to go to good places, to meet good people and things like this. And they don't invest in that because you don't see a tangible return. You know, if you run an ad and you spend £1,000 on it and you make 2,000 back, you've seen £1,000 return. It's tangible, so you can justify the £1,000 spend. But if you spend £1,000 to go and hang out with an amazing group of business owners at an event or something like that, or even a race event or whatever, you don't necessarily see the return, but the returns are literally geometric, because one relationship, one person, one chance, one opportunity, as you're speaking about there, can lead on to 10 million in sales. Now, if it cost you £20,000 to get 10 million in sales, how many degrees is a good deal?
Yeah.
You know, I think it's something that people should focus on more.
100%, mate.
Yeah. You know, so very, very important stuff. So
yeah,
now obviously you've done all those bits on, you've gone on this massive journey then, Nick, and that led you to doing millions and millions of pounds in sales, increasing your income in a significant way. But you then actually moved on in a couple of big moves and a couple of things that have really elevated you. And I've seen you grow a lot. One was the book, which you really worked very, very hard at. And it's not easy. A lot of people think it's easy to write a book. It requires dedication to make it good anyway. It's easy to write a crap book. But to write a good book, it's not that easy, right? You have to really put your time, your attention and everything into it, which I think you did, and revealed your processes. So in addition, we'll talk a little bit more about what you do with your training, but let's talk a little bit about the book. What's the concept of the book about, and why? Because a lot of sales books out there, Nick. I've read them all. You know, one thing that very much in common with you is throughout my sales career, it's funny because as you talk, there's a lot of similar things. You know, when I was working at Powerhouse, I had to sell N-Power electricity, right? You know, very, very similar to what you said yourself. And it's not the easiest thing to sell, and nobody wants to buy it. And it was a horrible sale, but you still did it, right? And it was, I did that back in the day. But as you grow, there's many, many different levels of becoming a sales professional. So when we talk about the book, tell me a little bit about what's in it, why it helps people, why you feel it's special, why you really wanted to put what you put in the book.
Yeah, amazing. So the book is Selling is Serving. Now, I think the title says most of the work is that, yeah, selling is actually serving people, because many people out there think that sales is bad, sales is sleazy, sales is hard, right? But whatever the brain can perceive and believe, it will achieve. So if you say that selling is hard, selling is bad, selling is sleazy, well, you're going to be a bad salesperson. You're going to be a sleazy salesperson. So the purpose of the book really is to show people that selling is a gift, you know, to have the ability to help solve someone's problems and only work with people who are the right fit. Because this is the problem these days, Adam, is a lot of business owners out there that want to work with anyone with a pulse and a checkbook. And actually what they're doing is they're attracting the wrong clients into their business. The clients who are going to waste their time, want refunds, complain, and just cause loads of hassle. So I've actually got a system, the 7-step serving system, that can take, you know, a complete beginner through a journey and know how to do a start to finish sales process, how to scale a team, the scripts they need for interviews, in-person, selling one-to-one, selling one-to-many, because it's the stuff I wish I had 10 years ago, right? And stuff I've had to learn through experience, through mentorship. And I've kind of created my own hybrid system. Again, it was working really well at the moment. So the book obviously was well received, #1 best-selling author in 21 categories, which when you think about it, if one of my teachers was to hear that back in school, they would have laughed they would be laughing. They'd be like, that's no way Nick Starb. And I would have laughed in your face if you told me I'm going to be a best-selling author 4 years ago. But a point proven to what we just spoke about, Adam, that you are the products of the people you hang around. Because from hanging around people like yourself, Liam, and all these successful entrepreneurs, I've realized if those guys can do it, yeah, I can do it too. Because Liam wrote a best-selling book and he's dyslexic. So that's genuinely what I did. I you know, in jokes aside, I said, if Liam can do it, I'm going to do it. And I just copied the process. It's like, this is the funny thing about being successful. It's not that hard. When you get a mentor who can literally take you from, talk to you about their failures, their successes, their systems. All you got to do is just copy it, right? And it's pretty much foolproof if you do the work. So
Absolutely.
the book's been amazing. It's got a lot of great reception. It was the catalyst for me after writing that book to realize actually I've got more inside of me in terms of my training academy, my boot camp, to actually mentor people one-on-one, business owners, coaches, consultants, which is what I'm doing right now. Yeah.
Absolutely awesome. And what would you say to somebody that's been listening so far? They're afraid of sales. They hate sales. They do anything to avoid putting themselves into a sales situation. They literally are in a race to the bottom in terms of just discounting their price or giving away their price to try and buy a yes. What would you say to that type of person? Because there'll be many people on there, and that is okay, if you've been in that position in the past, but how you change is how you succeed. What you do to improve is going to improve your results. So what would you say to someone like that from your expertise? And have you worked with many people like that, Nick?
Yeah, honestly, about half of my client base are probably people in that path where they just hate the idea of selling. I've worked with many clients who would actually go to make a sales call and hope that the customer didn't pick up, which when you actually break it down logically is insane, because if you're trying to sell a product to make money and you jump on a sales call and you hope that someone doesn't answer so you can even sell them, that means you need help. Now, look, the reality is, guys, and girls, is that I've been there, I've done that, right? I've got the t-shirt. I was never a confident person in school. I was bullied and I never felt good about myself. And I felt like I had to sell to survive in Australia. So I was kind of forced into it. But the reality is that when you think about it, everything you do in your life is a sale, right? Obviously when you sell products, you're selling, but also getting your kids to eat their vegetables, convincing your partner to do something you want. It's all the art of negotiation. And it's really simple when you break it down. If you just get away those bad sales connotations, because the days of the sleazy car salesman are dead. Like sales in this current day and age is the future, because people out there buy because they've got problems in their lives. And all we are is the problem solvers, right? We're the solution specialists. And to be a great salesperson, you just have to follow a golden rule. I call it the 80-20 rule, which is 20% speaking, 80% listening. And this is what many salespeople don't do business. They try and get on the phone and, hey, you got to buy my product. My product's amazing. It's going to help you do this. Whereas actually you should be jumping on the phone and just saying, I want to find out more about you, John. So what's your current situation like? What do you do right now? How's that making you feel? How's that impacting your life? And when you can really dig deep and uncover this information, it actually becomes more of a conversation with someone. And if you've got the solution, well, you can help your customer see that solution, right? We want to find out what their goals are, what their wants are, what their desires are. And if we can work with them, we do it, right? And the great thing I love about my system is if someone is not the right fit, we don't work with them. We don't tell them, hey, I'm not working with you, John, bye. No, we would just obviously say, look, John, I think you're right for this, but now's not the right time. What I recommend is you go and do X, Y, and Z, maybe have this YouTube video, have this product, and come back to us in the future. But that allows us and my clients to build a pipeline of actually clients coming in and out daily who are the right fit. And you'd love to sell. If you're working with people that you would like to hang around with, people that you want to go for drinks with and be your best friend, that's what it's all about, from taking them through this sales journey, like looking after your clients. I know you're a big believer, Adam, of having what we call raving fans, right? And I think that all comes down to listening to them and being good at sales. So if you're listening right now and you don't like sales, I get it. But seriously, I believe it's the number one skill that you need to master right now if you really want to be successful.
Absolutely. And what can change? Let's ask that, what have you seen? What can change for somebody through mastering this skill set? Because it's, as we talk about it, we know, I know, my whole background is sales. I changed my life through sales. So I know, but lots of people don't know. They know what they know, but if they've never mastered this skill set, they don't necessarily know the upside of what can change for them. So tell me a little bit about what you feel once somebody gets good at this, what changes in their life?
A one-word answer: everything. Like, I genuinely believe, like, obviously, aside from just making more money, yeah, but from being good at sales is actually going to build your confidence. Your relationships with the people around you is going to improve. You're going to have better relationships. I mean, maybe you're listening to this and you don't even have a relationship right now. If you learn how to sell, you're going to be able to go find those relationships. I guarantee it. And I think it just elevates you as a person, having that confidence that you can sell, you can negotiate, you're able to then have more time, more freedom to do the things that you want to do with the people that you want to do them with. I genuinely believe there is so many reasons, like countless reasons why selling will enhance your life. What would you say, Adam, as some of yours? If you said like there's loads, I want to hear from yourself.
Yeah. So in terms of what I would say is that if I go back to when I first started out in sales, I got into it by accident, same as you. Literally, my first ever sales job was working at Powerhouse, and prior to that, I'd been working on building sites. I had a short stint at KFC. I don't often talk about that. So if you're listening to the podcast, I had a short stint where I worked there. I'll tell you what, I was good at making chicken, to be fair, Nick. I was very, very good.
You got a secret
recipe. Even then, I took pride in it. I wanted it to be good when I made it, right? But the reason I got this job was because I walked into this showroom and a friend had recommended me. I never thought I was going to get the job. And I saw that they had free coffee. I was like, what, you can have as much coffee as you want? They were like, yeah, I was 19, you can have as much. Awesome. I was looking around the place and I was like, oh, I fancy that. I don't fancy getting up at 6 a.m. to go to a building site. This would be nice to walk around and talk to people. And then when I started, I wasn't very confident. When I started, and this is that changed my life, to be totally frank with you, at that point, I was a little bit of a rogue. I got into little bits of trouble here and there. I used to go out. I was terribly ill-disciplined. And in all different areas of my life, I just didn't have it together, to be honest. At 19, and I had no direction, didn't know where I was going to go, didn't know what I'd do. I didn't think about the future. All I thought about was the weekend, right? So I had everything. I was doing everything wrong, but I was still young and there was still time to change. And look, there's still time to change no matter where you're at. That's kind of where I was at. And then I got this job and I'm in this place and I just I was talking to this lady, her name was Diane, lovely lady, who kind of mentored me. She'd given me the job. I had no idea why, because at that point I definitely didn't deserve it, but I think they were desperate. So I got this job and she said, right, go and talk to them. And I remember seeing these people walking around the cookers and the toasters. And I was like, what do I say? She said, well, just help them and see what they want. So I go over, talk to them, help them, and they buy it. And then Diane said, and they ended up buying a couple of different things. They bought a cooker, bought a toaster, bought an iron. And I thought, well, that wasn't so bad. But I didn't get any kind of buzz or enjoyment out of it. I was just like, okay, well, that was all right. I think I could probably do this at that stage. And then Diane said to me, well, look, every time you make a sale, it goes on the system. And if you log in, you'll see what money you made. And I was really confused because I was like, well, no, I know what money I make. I'm paid for being it. Because I didn't even know, I didn't get commission. I didn't know anything. I was so green. And I log in and it was like, I made 14 quid. So I said to her, Diane, are you telling me I just made 14 pounds for talking to them about that cooker? And she said, yeah. I was like, oh my God, my brain was just blown. And I'll tell you what, in that moment, everything changed for me. I was like the Tasmanian devil going around that place talking to everyone. And before you knew it, I was number one. And it's very similar to what you're saying. So I fell into it by accident, but what it did is it actually gave me a discipline. So I think sales can improve you and your discipline, because now I was like, I don't want to go out and get drunk because I want to be on form tomorrow because I want to earn more money. Like that was a discipline that helped create. It helped me to build relationships with every single different person from every different walk of life. I can go to any party. I can talk to the grandparents. I can talk to the children. Do you understand what I mean? Like my communication skills were built in that foundation, where I think a lot of people, their communication skills are not actually built up in that way. But for me, it gave me that skill to be able to communicate with everybody, because I had to in this showroom. And, you know, and then later on, I went into cars. I then went into leasing jets. I then went on to start my own businesses, and I went and grew. But the other thing that it does, and this is the cool thing, I think, is the £14 I earned was an amazing example of being rewarded. And this is what I love about it. Being rewarded for going over and above. And what that did is it set a new discipline for me, that if I do more, I'll get more. If I serve more, I'll get more. If I help more, I'll get more. And that has filtered into every area of my life. But also the fact, the uncapped potential of sales, what that also did for me is it said, hang on, there is no ceiling. Nobody's in charge of my growth but me. And that is a very, very powerful feeling of freedom, because now all of a sudden, for the first time in my life, I had the ability to create what I wanted. And all of a sudden, I could create more and I could grow more. And that's what gave me the confidence to go into business, because I thought, if it gets tough, I will ring 25 people and I will find a sale. You know, and it gave me, do you understand what I mean? It gave me that confidence. So I think confidence, discipline, you know, focus, communication skills, I think it's everything.
It is,
you know, and I do. And, you know, I know it's what you do. I love it. We do a lot of training with our clients in this area to help them. But I love that your specialism, and you are focused solely on this, aren't you? And I think it's such a very, very important skill. And I don't know if you know, I've recently, you know, recommending people constantly to come and see you, you know, on an ongoing basis, because I really believe, and you've done some sales training for our teams, you've worked in our teams, which is great. I just think, regardless of where you're at in your life, if you haven't got this handled, there's still a missing piece. Even if you're a successful business owner, I think there's a missing piece for you. And I think you've got to plug that gap, because I think it'll make a world of difference. So that's my opinion. All right. Okay. So there we go.
I think you just backed up everything I said, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Because, you know, and that's why I wanted to have you on, because I know the importance of it. I want to get that message across to my clients. I want to get that message across to the podcast listeners. I want them to understand that this is something that we need to attack. This is something that we need to master. This is something that we need to push through if we want to become more successful in our lives. So tell us a little bit about what happens, Nick, when you start working with somebody and somebody comes. I know you've got 3-day training, which is an amazing training. I've sent my staff on it and they raved about it. They loved it. So tell us a little bit about, how do you get somebody walking in the first day that's afraid of sales, or that has preconceptions? And I actually did a sales training the other week for a clinic. One of my inner circle clients brought all her staff up, and people walk in, don't they, with these preconceptions like, they're going to make me do this, or they're going to make me do that. Am I going to have to do something I'm uncomfortable with? Tell me how you manage that, and you help them to, you know, actually enjoy sales, because I think that's an important part, isn't it? They've got to enjoy it.
Oh, 100%, Adam. Yeah, great question. And I think it all comes down to having a complete system, which is structured from start to finish, rather than just trying to, people coming in on day one, throwing them in the deep end with sales script training. I need to break down the psychology of sales first. So actually my first 2 modules are your psychology as a person, because when it comes to sales, it's 90% mindset and it's 10% strategy. And like I said, it's all down to what you perceive and believe. So first of all, we've got to overcome those barriers about selling being bad, selling being sleazy, and show you that selling is actually a gift. Selling is helping others, it's serving others, it's growing as a person. And then once we master your psychology, your own psychology, the next step is to master the buyer's psychology. Because when we know how other people think, the people that they like to buy from, their impressions, perceptions, when we can start to manipulate these, it actually starts to open people's eyes. Oh, this is quite fun, actually. Like you said, I'm able to go and talk to this person, have a great chat, and sell them this item, get rewarded for it. They're happy. They solve their problems. I get my commission, and I've done a great job. And whether that's for my business or someone else's business, it actually opens people's eyes to, this is really fun. And as I go through my training, I can't. I'm going to take you through for time all of the steps.
Yeah, of course.
What? Yeah, because I could go on all day. But the thing that people start to realize is actually, Nick, before I come to your training, I thought that sales was bad, sales was sleazy, sales was pushy. But actually, what I found is like therapy. Like you're literally just talking to these people, finding out what their problems are, what's good, what's bad in their life, what could be going better. And then you're helping them paint their goals, their visions, and actually uncovering different issues that they might have been facing in their businesses or their personal lives. And then you're able to fix those problems. And from just hearing you talk, I feel amazing. And I was like, well, if that's how you feel now, imagine if you're going out and doing this time and time again, if you're growing a business. And the one thing that my training offers, which is completely unique, like I don't know anyone else who has this right now, is that actually I give an opportunity for the people who come on my training to actually join our team, whether they be selling on the phones for us, selling on Zoom, selling in person at events, because I want to teach people the system, Adam. My goal is I want to teach people, and as I'm growing and scaling my business, I want the people that have invested into me to actually have an opportunity to come and join me and work with me behind the scenes. And I think that's what really people buy into, is the fact that they get to be part of my vision and be part of the journey. We're about to start going into the US very soon. I'm really excited about that. But for me to do that, I've got a problem on my hands. I need a big team. I need to grow, and I need to keep scaling and growing. And I don't want to go and hire another salesperson who's got loads of experience in London. I want to hire someone who's actually been on the journey, who is invested in themselves, even if they had no experience before, or even if they were completely green. I actually find that sometimes the best salespeople aren't the people who've done sales for years, worked for big businesses. They're actually the most common, regular people. Absolutely. Who were previously scared and nervous about sales, who I've been able to install the right beliefs. They've had no ego, and they've just been able to copy the system. And as a result of that, I've had clients, after 4 days of attending my course, selling products for some of the biggest business owners, making £3,000 a day in closing on the phone. It's just incredible. So honestly, that's
been a fantastic journey for you, Nick. In terms of people being listening to the podcast, what's the best place for people if they want to contact you, they want to get in touch with you? I'm sure you'd be open to that. Is Instagram the best place? Or
100%. I'm very open on Instagram. Yeah, Instagram's a good place. I've got my website as well, nickstarbcoach.com. You can send us a message there, find out more about what I do. But I'm very open on Instagram as well. And
what's your Instagram handle for everybody so they can hit you up and go and follow?
Right, I'm going to have to spell it for people. So it's Nick Staab, but that's Staab. So Staab, coach. So Nick Staab Coach. Same as my website, Nick Staab Coach.
Go and connect with Nick. He's an amazing guy. There's lots of different sales tips that he's putting out on a regular basis. And look, I can recommend Nick's book. I've read it. Very, very kindly gave me a copy. And I read it, really enjoyed it, thought it was fantastic. I think there's a lot of value there. And that might also be a great place for people to start. And I'm sure they can go and get that on Amazon, can they? Yeah. Yep,
mate. Amazon, it's on Kindle, and it's available to buy a hard copy, soft copy as well.
Yeah. So selling to serve.
Selling is serving.
Selling is serving. Right. Selling is serving. There we go. Yeah. Let's get that right. Let's get that now. Okay, Nick. Well, thanks for coming on, mate. It's been amazing. Loved speaking to you as always, totally aligned with where you're going, what you're doing. I think it's incredible, and certainly go and follow Nick or hit up his book, because it is a powerful, powerful tool. And this is something you need to get mastered in your life. Thanks, everybody. And of course, if you haven't already, if you want to hear more amazing interviews like this, go and give us a 5-star rating wherever you're listening to the podcast. Of course, the podcast is always free. It's always here to deliver value. We just want to get the message out further. So if you give us that 5-star rating, that will enable more people to hear about the show, to see the show, and also to keep delivering these amazing guests like Nick today. So thanks, everybody. And I look forward to seeing you all very, very soon.